Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by a Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with a Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. All right, we're back for another episode of the Mortgage Broker Podcast, and today we're circling back to our Behind the Leader series. Very excited to have Chad Gregory, VP of National Sales, Dominion Lending Centers, our brand, our network, huge partner to us. Your leadership, there's a lot there. I know it's primarily sales, but you're the guy on the ground. You've been here from day one. You've seen it all. And that's really where I want to get into, is just kind of going behind the curtain, especially from the startup hustle days.
Yeah, absolutely.
The grind.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to dive into all that. And, there's a lot of other cool stuff we're obviously going to touch on with where we are today. There's just the incredible investment into technology, velocity, gold rush, of course. That word has been used heavily within our company, but there's a lot of cool stuff there. AI powered tools that are coming that, you and I were talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited about what the future holds.
Totally. So Chad, let's get into it. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Oh, listen, my pleasure, guys. And thank you for having me. This is awesome. I love, helping offices grow, and I love what I do and sharing stories. And, obviously we got to share a few when we were at Whistler, and this is kind of how this came about. So totally. I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, this one's a cool one for me too. I look at you, obviously my previous role in recruitment with Mortgage Architects, I look at you and Stu and, Sean and Gary, all those guys as mentors of mine. So to sit and have this pod with you is awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Where did it all start?
So to clear it up a little bit. So I've been here almost since day one, pretty much since day one in Ontario.
Okay.
So the company was, about a year and a couple months old when I joined, but they're pretty much BC based and Alberta based.
Yeah.
And so they hired myself and another guy, a couple guys, to start it up here in Ontario. And we hit the ground, just prospecting. That's what we were. We had to pick up the phone. We had to, tell our story, get in front of people. It was a grind, like you said in the beginning, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Many hours on the road, probably average 50 to 60,000 kilometers a year on my car, a couple hundred nights in hotels, flying to different cities, but it was exciting. And it was something that, I look back and I go, holy crap, man, that work paid off.
When you're starting out that role, what did you know about the mortgage industry and the brokers and just how that whole thing worked?
Yeah, that might be one of the shocking stories is we knew nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. We don't come from the mortgage world. So just to give you a bit of background, prior to being with Dominion, I was with a company called Richard Robbins International, which is one of the largest real estate training and coaching companies in all of North America, but certainly the biggest here in Canada. And the two guys that Gary and Chris hired came from there. And they were the ones that had hired me from that company. And so we knew all the real estate brokerages across the country. And at the time, especially here in Ontario, there was an opportunity for the real estate brokers to grandfather their broker license to a mortgage broker license, and they could open up a mortgage brokerage, but the window was very small. So that's how we got into it. We started going around to all the big Royal LePages and Remaxes that we knew and, said, here's an opportunity to open up an ancillary service here in Ontario. We can help you grow it. We'll recruit to it. You've got all these realtors, brokers would love access to that. So, let's open up a brokerage. And that's how we got started. So, but we knew nothing, we had to fake it completely. I didn't know who was who in the zoo and, what the hell's a hellock? And, I joke, but that was kind of it. It was just learning by, jumping into the frying pan.
I mean, that's incredible. So how many of those real estate brokerages that you reached out to that you knew from the past ended up starting a successful DLC franchise and are still operating those today?
Yeah, there's still quite a few. Some of them have merged into other brokerages as some of these big, brokerages from the competition have made the move over. They've done acquisitions of them. The ones that put people in place to help manage and run it, similar to what they've done with their real estate offices, did really well.
Yeah, I bet.
And you know what? There was quite a few people in the beginning days that we were taking from the competition that were at that $10 or $15 million mark, but would love to get to 20 or 30 and have some unfettered access to these realtors. And if they promoted it properly, they could go in and build relationships. Just because a real estate brokerage owns a mortgage brokerage doesn't guarantee that the realtors are going to use that mortgage brokerage. But the ones that did it well, and they're still around.
Yeah, that's cool. I just want to get into like 0 to number 1.
Yeah.
Because it's an incredible journey. It's like everyone you talk to, like competitors, they always have something bad to say, of course, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing they do give DLC credit for is the incredible growth. I mean, Gary and Chris truly changed the industry in a big
believe
way.
so. I think we're all better off as a result of those two guys.
And I think a lot of the competitors that maybe don't think highly of DLC for whatever reason, because they're competitors and they're just jealous, is probably what it is.
Yeah.
But they all say like he made a lot of positive impacts on this industry. So everyone gives him his flowers from that perspective, at least from my lens. So like, let's kind of get into that journey because you truly did see it all.
Yeah. I remember being at my very first MPC event and we did a lender appreciation party, which really no other company had ever done before. And it was just a thank you. We brought all the lenders in and I remember Gary going across the room and, we were talking about how, we got this many brokers and we're going to be number one day and, go to the next one. And all of a sudden we got 10 more brokers and I'm thinking, okay, we just went 10 feet across the room. I don't know how we get 10 more agents, but okay. And really, by the time we got to the far side of the room, the belief that this guy was instilling in everybody that we were going to become number one and that we were going to be a force in this industry, it was unbelievable, the conviction that this guy spoke with. And we all believed it. We all had a vision. We knew exactly what we had in terms of a model. We were proud of it. We knew how it stood up against the others. And it was just a matter of getting in front of people, and it was one at a time, and as we started to recruit some good producers from the competition, we started getting phone calls from the broker owners of these competitors going, I've never lost anybody before. Like, what are you guys up to? And then all of a sudden we were getting in front of the broker owner and showing them our complete value proposition, and it was better than theirs. And once we got one, it led to another and it led to another, and it just kind of had this flywheel or this snowball effect. And once we took down a few of the big companies out there, the big teams, it just got easier. But the beginning days, it wasn't.
How far into the journey? So if you think about day one until whatever date it was where you were like, holy shit, like we have something here and this is going to be big. Like how far into that journey or how long did it take to get to that kind of realization?
Well, 2 or 3 years into it, it wasn't much more than that. I think we were starting to see numbers that rivaled us as one of the top in the industry, if not the top. Back then it was kind of hard to, tell the numbers, and even still today, a lot of these companies are private. They say they do this, but, I remember the talk at the time was if you could get a company to 10 billion, like that would be unbelievable. Like that would be the pinnacle. No one's ever done it. Like a network, not just one company, right? And like here we are last year over 67 billion as a group. We've got brokerages that are going to do 4 or 5 billion.
Yeah.
So it was about that 2.5, 3 year mark that we were like, all right, we're about to become number one, if not already number one, and we're not going to look back.
I love it.
That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty incredible the kind of volume, like even just we're doing on our side of things, like, and where it all started. It's just mind blowing. Like, I mean, even for myself, like when I first started brokering, there wasn't really many people doing 100 mil a year, just like an individual agent. Now you look at our network, how many 100 million plus agents we have,
right?
Like it's incredible. So looking at behind the scenes, was there any big pivots or like that's kind of an aha moment, just getting to those volume numbers? Was there anything else that stuck out? Like, market crashes or anything that?
Yeah. Well, so I started in 2007. Obviously there was a bit of a market crash in 2008, but I didn't feel it. Like, I mean, I didn't understand it. Like I was new to the industry. And so I didn't let it get in my way of going out and doing what we were doing. I mean, what really made me confident in going out and doing this was the model these guys had put together. Yeah. And it started with the foundation around branding. We felt the biggest weakness this space had was the lack of a brand, a national brand that people could trust and recognize. Nobody else is doing it. It was all these little mom and pop shops, a few little networks, no outward advertising. And we copied a playbook straight from Remax. I think it's well known and well documented. But, these guys, if you walk into any neighborhood in the country,
Yeah.
You know, like Remax stands out.
Yeah.
And so we actually copied that national advertising strategy and we believed in it. Like I remember sitting with some leaders, and funny enough, some of those leaders are now with us on the executive staff, but when they were with the competition saying, you guys are nuts.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming out with a $150 a month ad fund fee that no one else has. Nobody's heard of you. Like you're already shooting yourselves in the foot right out of the gate. And those were literally the words they used. And we just said, you know what? Somebody's got to do this. Somebody's got to be able to establish a brand to go up against the banks, because that's what people knew. And if you look statistically back then, I think it was around 88% of people were going to their bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today it's pretty much 50-50. And that first time home buyer, it's closer to 65%. And that's in less than 20 years.
I mean, it's so true. Like I started my career day one with DLC, so it's all I've known.
Yep.
But one thing I realized earlier in my career, when an agent came over to our brokerage that I was a part of, the first thing they said, so let's say this is a competitor, when I introduced myself to a new client, hey, here's who I am, I'm with Dominion Lending Centers. Oh, awesome. Great.
Yep.
Where at the previous brand, it was like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
It's now a negative conversation in a sense, opposed to just jumping into the value prop. You're now having to explain what you are.
You're
what your
already a
brand
little
is.
bit in the hole.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that is absolutely one of the biggest competitive advantages Dominion brings to any broker today, 20 years ago, was that recognition, that validity in the eyes of the consumer.
Yeah.
You know, because as Canadians, the majority of us are pretty conservative when it comes to spending our dollars.
Yeah.
Right? We want to trust the company. We want to know the company. We want to know the person. And by all means, they're going to trust you. They know you. They like you. But when you have a recognizable logo behind you, it just adds that much more credibility. I mean, that's what brands do. I mean, Gary's been saying it a lot lately, is it's a transfer of trust.
Totally.
You know, the biggest brands in the world have the most market share, have the most trust when it comes to the consumer and, you know, getting their business. And so we looked at it and said, wow, how do we compete with banks?
Yeah.
We got to get our name out there. We got to get our message out there. There was a lot of misconceptions, you know, about what a mortgage broker can do for people. And even today, there's still a bit of that.
Yeah.
But it's much less than it was 20 years ago. Like people thought they only came to us if they couldn't get approved at their bank.
Yeah, it's terrible credit, loan shark. Like it doesn't have my best interest. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wow, that's crazy that that's what the public was thinking. And so the branding and what Dominion did is really what's changed this entire industry, not just for us, but for everybody.
Completely agree. And where I've noticed this now on the brokerage owner side is talking to bankers.
Yeah.
And, you know, like let's say, you know, a TD banker as an example, they love that TD pin.
Yep.
And the brand, it's a reputation. And when we talk to them about their options, they choose DLC because it's a similar, like, yeah, I can put that pin on. My clients
They're
know who I
accustomed
am.
to having
Yeah.
a big brand behind them, right?
Totally.
And so, yeah, they gravitate towards DLC almost always.
Yeah.
You know, because it does. They recognize the power of one. They understood it when they were at the bank, and now they recognize this is the brand in the industry.
Yeah. So we listened to a podcast that you were on previously, and there's a story about, you know, 10 years of door knocking.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on that one piece because, you know, 10 years of door knocking to vice president of national sales,
Right.
Like quite the trajectory there.
A little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there one skill that you found carried over?
Well, so I'll just give the quick story. So I was going to Queen's University. I was in my third year of pre-med. That's the route I thought I was going, and I was hating it. And I wasn't sure I was going to get out of it, but, you know, my career counselor had said, you know, why don't you get a job in sales? Like, you know, if you're going to go on to become a doctor, a lot of them don't have great bedside manner and, you know,
Yeah.
not great people skills, and you need that skill set. So get into sales. And I had done some retail when I was a teenager, but not full on sales. So I answered an ad in the paper, and it turned out to be, you know, going door to door and selling those coupon packages, buy one, get one free for Blockbuster Video and McDonald's and all that stuff, right? I started building up a team, and I was making some silly money. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a year off school. I'm going to see where this goes. Or I can build up a team. I can open up my own office, and then I can open up others. And I ended up doing that. And actually, that's where I met Stu, the other vice president here in Ontario. But I ended up having offices across Canada. And then I got a chance to go open up offices in Northern Africa and Morocco.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I spent 13 months over there building up a sales force of about 200 people. Got inundated into the culture over there, learned, you know, how to speak Arabic while I was there. And so a lot of people don't know that stuff.
I didn't know that.
So anyways, yeah, the skill set that I brought, first off, that is, you know, no pun intended, but the school of hard knocks when it comes to sales.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know, like you've got 20 seconds to make an impression and keep somebody's interest and get them to open up their wallet.
Yeah.
The reality of it is that I learned how to build a good impression inside 20, 30 seconds. I learned how to be resilient and thick-skinned and take rejection and, handle the no's. And I learned how to not get too high when, you had a hell of a day and not get too low when you didn't have a great day. And so there's just a bunch of those skill sets that I've just carried forward because that's part of sales.
Yeah.
Some days are good.
How are the nerves on your first knock?
Terrible.
Yeah.
So the way it works is you start off following somebody for a day. You really don't get to do any pitching. You're just sitting there listening to how they do it. And they had a really cool, 5 steps where you do an intro, a short story, presentation, get it in their hands, do a quick close, and then, try to sell multiples. So they had a system and it worked. Day 2, you start doing a few doors on your own. And the first door, I'm not even making this up. I remember the lady opened the door. I froze completely and looked at her and said, wrong door. And I walked away and I'm walking down the sidewalk back to, or the pathway to the sidewalk, and my trainer looks at me. He's like, wrong door. Like, dude, this isn't like a wrong number. Like I said, man, I froze. I panicked. But every door got easier and easier and easier. And, by day 3, you're doing doors on your own. And if you do well enough at this, they've made you a sales leader, which it only took me 3 weeks to become one. And then I got to start training others to do it and, got to make a little piece off of everything they were doing. And that's what got me into sales.
The reason I ask is the nerves on that first knock. And I think about today's broker where it's the nerves of making the first phone call. If you're looking to prospect a new realtor or a client, what advice would you give for a new broker that's, really needs to pick up the phone and, do their 10 calls a day or whatever it is, but they have that knocking anxiety or the fear of the cold call?
The phone feels like it weighs 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Right?
What advice would you give? Because I know you're the master on the phone and kind of working that network. So I think that would be helpful.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. So Richard Robbins taught me the skill set of picking up the phone because at that job, it was like I was in charge of opening up opportunities with real estate companies down in the US who didn't really know Richard. He was huge here in Canada. So again, it was like that beginning days of Dominion where nobody had ever heard of you and you have to make a quick impression inside 2 minutes, get past the gatekeeper, the secretary or the receptionist. And so a couple things. One is follow proven scripts. And if you go into the back end of the Dominion intranet, under the training section, there are scripts in there that are proven. They outline why you should be calling your past database, new clients, how to, build a relationship with a realtor. And people hear the word scripts sometimes and they go, I don't like scripts. And it's like, okay, you don't have to use it verbatim.
Yeah.
But it's a guideline of something that's already been proven to be successful. And the second part of that is not sounding scripted.
Yeah.
It's internalizing it. And what that required, and this is what we did every morning with the door-to-door company for 30 minutes, every day at Richard Robbins for 30 minutes, we chose another individual and we role played. And one would pretend to be the customer or the receptionist or the broker owner of the company, and the other one would be doing the actual pitch. And then they would throw objections at you and say, okay, and there was maybe only 3 or 4, just like there is today of, why wouldn't they use a mortgage agent? There's not many. It's not like they make new ones up every year. It's pretty much the same one. So role playing, using proven scripts, practicing overcoming the objection handlers, and just getting good at it. And the more you did it, the more you role played ahead of time, the easier that first phone call became.
Yeah, it's just like warm it up before a game.
You got it. Exactly.
I look at those scripts, and one thing that worked for me really well in the early days was taking what was on that intranet. And yeah, I thought scripts, like I'm not going to read this thing. But what I learned is, okay, I'm going to read this and I'm just going to make bullets of pieces that I need to touch on, personalize it to myself. But it still was the same strategy. I'm hitting the same points of just making it sound like me.
You got it.
It's there. It's like, it's amazing what you can do if you just slightly tweak something and make it your own.
Absolutely. Right? And like I said, the resource is there.
Yeah.
Use it. But then pick somebody in the office and role play with them.
Yeah, it's a great
And then once
tip.
you've got it down, pick somebody else and rotate and get into that habit. And I remember the first time role playing, and not so much the door-to-door because I didn't know sales and I thought this was normal. But with Richard, I was like, this is weird. It felt weird to sit in the coffee room 30 minutes before we were getting on the phones for the day and, pitching somebody. It was like, okay, this is not what I'm used to, but man, is it effective.
Yeah.
So effective.
This is just your sales strategy, business development tactics. And like whether you're selling a coaching program, recruiting a mortgage broker or a mortgage broker trying to, convert a realtor to start using them. It's all the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there one business development hack that you've seen really, turn leads into loyal clients?
Well, I mean, if you've got a client that's worked with you, there's many ways to deepen that client loyalty. In fact, that's where I believe the true opportunity is you get one person that, you did business with and they liked you. And then you get a chance, if you can do something after the close where they're not expecting it, that post-sale service follow-up, to wow them and turn them into raving fans. In fact, there's a book that I read, I believe it's by Ken Blanchard. I think I got it on my phone here. It's called Raving Fans. Ken Blanchard and Sheldon Bowles. And I recommend everybody read that because they then become your sales force.
Yeah.
And they start referring business to you. And here's the cool part about post-sale and deepening client loyalty is the bar is set so low.
Yeah.
Like very few people do it. And even like with building Dominion, like we continue to service our offices. We continue to bring value. Franchises have signed a 7-year agreement. It's easy for us to forget and just move on and get the next one, which is what most salespeople do.
Yeah.
But man, when you provide value time and time again, after you've already made that, commission, you blow them out of the water and nobody's doing it. That's the part that I think is really missing right now. And you can turn these guys and these people into your raving fans.
That's such a great point. Like what these people can do for you from a sales perspective after the fact when you overserve them.
Yep.
And the introductions that we get regularly from, like, bankers are probably the best example of this. How many friends they have at that big institution that they just left.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, bring them out to our event, or hey, like, do something a little bit extra, spend an extra, couple hours with them on a call. And like, we're constantly getting, I can't believe I'm taking up so much of your time or this and that. Right? It's like, no, man, this is what this is all about. Right. Yep. So yeah, that's such a great point. That is just so versatile in any industry. The one thing that I took away from Gary in the early days was the rhythm chart. And that helped me from not just converting somebody to eventually work with me, whether it was a realtor in my mortgage brokering career or convincing a mortgage broker to join us, like just the rhythm of constantly following up on those folks, doing these little nice gestures. Gary made it when he first delivered it to me was, I've been getting compliments that I'm hearing from you more than my own owner. Like, right. Have you had any experiences with that in a similar sense?
This is Darren Hardy's strategy. So obviously, Darren and Gary become great friends, but, initially it was coaching, and Darren's arguably the number one entrepreneur coach in the world, right? And so he introduced us to this idea of the rhythm chart. So, you go out, you do your pitch, whether you're pitching a client to, do a mortgage with you, or you're pitching somebody to join your brokerage or whatnot. Not always do they say yes right away. Especially in the beginning, it was like, well, we don't know who you are and we don't know if you guys can deliver and do what you say. And, it sounds good, but, let's see. And it's easy just to go on to the next one. But then if you do the constant drips, and that's what the rhythm chart is, it's a systematic drip of different, gifts, small tokens, letters, handwritten cards. Like that's a lost art today.
Totally.
Like I just met with a team that's doing about 120 million from the competition 2 weeks ago. I sat in the parking lot. I've got these thank you cards, Dominion branded, blank on the inside, and spent 5 minutes just writing out, hey, that was amazing to get to know you. Your story's incredible. What I see you're doing for your brokers is incredible. Loved all the stuff in your office. You had all kinds of sports paraphernalia. And I said, I just really thank you for giving me the time to present to you, and I'd love a chance to show your team.
Yeah.
Put my business card in, signed it off saying thank you, had stamps and envelopes in the bag, found a post office or a post box I could drop it in, and like 10 minutes after I left the office, I've already got this going out. So, and I actually included a Darren Hardy book, so I ended up putting a package together, so the compound effect, that's another one of my favorites. Anyway, so that got sent. Well, 3 days later, I'm getting a text going, wow, can't wait to read this book, that's awesome. And I'm thinking, how many times has he been pitched by the competition?
Totally.
Probably in his 10-year career, a dozen.
Yeah.
How many do you think actually have ever done that?
When I was working, obviously, with yourself and Gary, one thing that he stressed at all times was emotional deposits, right? And that was sending raving fans or sending a book. And that rhythm chart for me, I had it on my screen religiously, but sometimes it's just a snapshot reminder of, oh shit, like I haven't talked to this person in the last month. So let me reach out and send them a book or send them whatever. So, I mean, we use it to this day.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, so for mortgage agents listening, I mean, there's a huge opportunity to do this with realtors you want to work with.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're taking care of the ones that you do work with. Don't forget about them. They should be a part of this drip campaign, little touches, unexpected emotional connections. But the ones you don't work with, that you want to, that have said no to you, and something's going to happen with the relationship at some point with their current mortgage broker.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes we're only as good as our last deal. And if they ever screw up, you want to be next in mind.
Yeah. This is kind of an internal saying that we had when we were running our book is realtors have a shelf life, whether you're doing a great job or not. Like majority of them have a shelf life of like 18 to 24 months because mortgage brokers are always calling them.
Yep.
And it's so easy for them to just flip that other file to the next guy. And if you're not continuing to follow up and build new ones, you're definitely going to fall behind. I mean, of course, there's always like the one or two loyal realtors that become friends that, continue to support you, but you got to get a pipeline of those referral partners. And like, this is just the easiest way to do it. There's like, hey.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. Like a book's $20 maybe.
$20. Yeah, exactly.
If you buy in bulk, it can be cheaper. Yeah. So like some of the gifts I've gone and along the way was, the whole Dustin Woodhouse Be a Better Broker. Yeah. Those are great to hand out. The Compound Effect from Darren Hardy. The latest one, I'm waiting for a case of them to come, is the Dan Martell Buy Back Your Time.
That book changed my life.
Right? So I'm listening to it right now. It's phenomenal. I've been following the guy for a long time. I mean, at 2-minute clips at a time. And to see him come to our conference, I was like, oh, this is amazing. So, and I think people need to buy back their time. They need to understand that concept. So, you can send them a $10 Tim's card or a, Starbucks card. You can send them an Audible book. You don't even have to send them a physical one. You can just email it to them right away. Hey, I was thinking about you, read this, thought you'd really love this. There's another book by David Goggins, Can't Break Me. I don't know if you ever read that.
I haven't read it, but it's been on my list.
I was having lunch with a realtor and he was telling me about all the marathons and all the triathlons and all these things and some of these worldwide really difficult ones. They're not normal triathlons. And that's a lot of what this guy did, ex-military.
Yeah.
I sent him the ebook and it's like, 5 minutes after we're done the lunch, cost me $14.99. And the guy was blown away by it, and it's like, well, he's sending his business now to Dominion Lending Center. So there's so many ways to deepen that client loyalty. And it isn't just with gifts. It's making sure you got constant touches, constant communication.
Wonder if that guy that you sent that Goggins book to actually ran a marathon, because I've read that book. I think he did it on 2 broken legs too. So
this guy's inhuman. Like if you haven't read it, it is one of the most motivational books I've ever read. I actually got the entire sales team at DLC to read it, like Joe and the rest of them, and blown away. So,
yeah, I mean, you stop having excuses real quick.
Yeah. I know I'm not running marathons. Yeah. I've run a half marathon once, but that's another story.
We've teased a bit on just some of the training, like the scripts and what's available to our agents on DLC's intranet. Maybe you can just touch on that one more time and just what's available to the team, because there is so much recorded training on that internet.
Spend time in the training center. It is the most robust of any of the competitors I've seen. And I've been in the back ends of every one of the competitors prior to, converting people. They show me what they've got and it doesn't even hold a candle to what we have. So literally there's like 500 hours of video recordings back there, and some of it's on tools and technology. Some of it's on product. Obviously those can get a little outdated, but some of it's on building relationships. We brought in authors and Gary's Level Up series and, all of those. There is a massive amount of material back there. There are very good scripts back there as well, too, that I really believe people should be using. It tells you reasons to reach out. In fact, I do a training session, and maybe we'll do it with your entire group, where I walk them through a 7-step program that's proven for the last 25 years to grow your business by 15 to 20% every single year, so you can predict a consistent amount of business coming in and grow. And it's simple. It's not rocket science, but I actually even give the scripts to go along with it of what to say day 1, what to say day 90, what to say day 120. If you don't make the calls, like you said, there's an apology script in there, which, hey, I've done a crappy job keeping in touch and I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can only use that one once though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like maybe we'll do that with your group because I think it brings a lot of value.
Hey everyone, Dean here. Quick timeout from the episode to share with you the ABW Tuesday Mortgage Memo, your weekly market highlights sent directly to your inbox every Tuesday. This is certainly one you're not going to want to miss, so make sure to sign up now. You can do so with a link in the show notes, or you can head to joinabw.ca and sign up there. This is a high-level summary of market developments, regulatory updates, and housing trends every Tuesday. So hope you enjoy it, and back to the show. We will definitely take you up on that. And I mean, it's a good segue just into, DLC's killer value proposition and the tools that we're showcasing every day. I mean, to start, the DLC mobile app. That one is huge.
This thing is honestly one of the best things that we've ever invested in. Here's what I think, outside of the brand, like we talked about earlier, being the foundation and the cornerstone and still a massive reason why people join us, especially bankers, tools and technologies is what separates us. There is no one in the industry, no other company investing like we are in fintech. We are trying to lead that charge, and we are. And so the My Mortgage Toolbox, or whatever it's called for the other brands that we've got, this thing's hugely underutilized, in my opinion. Like people go, yeah, I got it, I download it, I do it. But man, you want to make sure every single customer gets this in their hands. And here's why. And you guys know the answer. But I always ask a prospect, what do you think is the most Googled or searched word in the mortgage industry by Canadian consumers today?
Most will say rates.
Yeah, and I would have probably said that too. But funny enough, no, it's number 2. Number 1 is mortgage calculator. And here's why it is you sit with a client and you go through, be it a husband and wife, and you go through all these options with them, and they leave the meeting with you. Well, they're going to go home and they're going to want to run a few scenarios, and they're going to go Google a few things. Guaranteed they're Googling mortgage calculator to do these scenarios. And if you don't have one, which the rest of the competition doesn't, if you don't have one that's yours, well, guess what? It's coming up. CIBC.
Yeah.
RBC.
Yeah.
Butler. Rate Hub.
Yeah.
All their calculators. And now your client's in the Shark Tank.
Totally.
And you have a real risk of losing them if they go through and do scenarios, because the other companies get notification that they're on their calculator. You need to make this part of your process right from day one. Get it into everybody's hands. Tell them, hey, I got the best calculator in the industry. It's all here. I'm going to send you the link right now. Download it. Yeah. Because then as well, when you're, doing these scenarios and running these reports, you're getting the notification.
That's what I think is one of the key pieces. If someone's going in and running scenarios on their own, you're getting a notification. Hey, Chad, Jay's in your app doing something. And then there's an immediate touch point, right?
So I'll do 2 or 3 recruiting meetings in a day, with bankers or competitors, and I'll send them a copy of my app right when I'm in the presentation. I'm like, I tell you what, I can show you screenshots and this and that, but the best way to get this app, play with it. So I send it to them right away. Well, all day long, I'm getting notifications on my phone that they've downloaded the app, that they're doing this report, they're doing the pre-qualifier, and the only one I show them, because it's not consumer facing, is the refinance analyzer. Oh my goodness, is that?
Oh man.
Like that is opportunity.
I honestly think we did 100 million in 2021 because of that refinance analyzer.
When I show competitors that refinance analyzer and say, here, you plug in their current situation, what remaining months, amortization, current rate, what they want to refi to, all their debts.
Yeah.
Because right now, let's be honest. Banks and lenders are kicking our butts when it comes to renewals.
Totally. Yeah.
It isn't a renewal conversation. It is a refinance conversation, right? Like I talked to a couple brokers that are frustrated with, I'm getting beat. I'm like, Canadians are carrying so much debt today. They're up to here.
Yeah.
And the lender sending out a low rate isn't taking that into consideration. They're not taking in the full picture. And we're competitive on the refinance side. So now you plug in all their debts, say, this is why we want to look at doing it. Does it make sense? And in 2 minutes, it spits out this beautiful report. We personalized and branded with yours and their names on it. You can send it as a live doc.
Yeah.
So when you send it, anytime they open it up, you're being notified.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks from now, they're sitting down again and having a glass of wine and they're discussing their options. They open the app, you're getting notification.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I'm not even kidding. In 2021, with COVID rates dropping substantially, I was building those reports filming a video, screen share video of going through the report. It probably took me 4 to 5 minutes front to back. And I would just send them to clients because we were too busy to actually call them at that point in time.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding. 80% would just email me back. Let's get started.
Right.
No conversation needed.
Yep.
It was insane how impactful that was. And we are now coming back into a time where people signed a lot higher rates 12, 18 months ago, even 6, 7 months ago. These refinance scenarios actually make a ton of sense right now.
You're saving them money.
Yeah.
Dropping their monthly expenses. And the report shows all of it. It's clear as day. Like gone are the days of doing this on a piece of paper or an Excel spreadsheet. You know, it's so professional looking.
Yeah.
And that's how you find opportunities, you know, like go into your database and take a look at the ones that had 6% interest rates, you know, 12, 18, 24 months ago. You know I had one when I came up for renewal off of the COVID stuff. I went up to almost 7.
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? And so there are opportunities there, but you got to utilize the tools.
Man, so the one thing you mentioned just, which we haven't done, but you're giving it to prospects that you're trying to recruit as mortgage agents.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that, but we're going to do that right away.
100%.
I used to do that with realtors. I would give it to realtors and then I would see when they were in there and it's like, hey, I haven't heard from that guy in 6 months. Where's all his deals going?
Right.
Boom, call the realtors.
Well, and again, it gives you a distinguishing competitive advantage to go meet with a realtor and say, hey, I got something cool to show you. You know, I'm going to put my app on your phone. And so now when you're doing open houses and people are coming in, you know, one of the questions you can ask is, have you been pre-qualified? No? Okay, hey, cool. And they start doing it right on their app. My long-term girlfriend is a mortgage agent with Dominion, and she's got about 10 different relationships with realtors. She's got it all in their phones, and she can tell every time one of them's doing an open house because there's like 4 or 5 or 6 pre-qualifiers coming through in about a 2-hour period.
Yeah, and you can even train your realtors to give that app link out to their clients, right? And now there's clients that you don't even know who they are yet, but they've been given that app. So it's just such a powerful tool.
I promise top 3 reasons people are joining Dominion. Stuff like that.
I love that. So maybe let's touch on velocity because it just keeps getting better. And when I first started using it as a broker, I didn't like it at the beginning.
And it took a little bit.
And again, I think it was more muscle memory. You're just used to one tool. Again, you know, this is going back 7-8 years ago,
right?
Where it's at today, even where it's at today, like Velocity 3 was recently updated. Like there's a couple improvements there that were substantially better.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Just the amount of money that's being poured into that, like just what's your lens on Velocity and how you're utilizing it?
You know, we were all at the mercy of one platform. And, you know, again, it did its job, but let's be honest, it's an older platform with a lot of patches and Band-Aids. And there's, you know, a lot of people that are used to it and therefore have you continue to use it. But they also can, you know, have some concerns and complaints. And, you know, when it went down, I don't know, whatever it was, 4 years ago for those 5 straight business days. You guys remember that? Like the entire industry, it was crippled.
That was during the 2021 COVID insanity.
Right.
Yeah.
And rates were rising and it was just like, holy, what's happening here, right? So nobody could submit a deal in the industry except for DLC because we decided to invest in our own highway, our own platform.
Yeah.
And the analogy I use is like the other one's kind of like the 401 for any of you guys in the Toronto area. It's not fun. You know, I was on it today coming down here and I was like, this is crazy. But then there's the 407, which actually I had taken most of the way. And it's just so much faster and efficient and easier. And the only difference is, you know, you don't pay for velocity like we do the 407.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just said, you know what, we need some additional highways, a backup. But then we really heavily invested inside and we took the feedback from our network. You know, we have an advisory board of the top agents in the country that utilize 100% velocity saying, love it. Would love it to do this. And if they want it, generally it's really good for everybody else. And they listen. You know, Jeff Willis and the team there. Gary made the commitment to build the best damn platform this industry's ever seen, and he's delivered on it.
Totally. I'm in the next level group chat. Jeff Willis is in there. There's a lot of stuff popping into that chat, and it does get implemented. And I think that's a key piece there is the feedback is actually listened to and then implemented. And I definitely nerd out with this tech stuff. And I talk to Jeff Willis all the time. He probably cringes when I call him because I'm always asking him to add something.
But that's how this has been built.
But he's like, he takes those calls and he actually does implement these ideas and takes it to his team. So like, I can't ask for any more than that.
The number one thing I believe it's done is increased efficiencies for our brokers. by leaps and bounds.
Totally.
And it's been built by brokers for brokers. Like when I show a demo of Velocity to the competition, it's the jaw-dropping moment of the presentation because they look at what they've got, and as I'm showing them what we've got, they're like, you're kidding me. It can do that. Oh my goodness. It does that. Oh my goodness. It's this. And it's about efficiencies for the agent. It's about efficiencies for our lenders because the lenders love this, it's really cool. And then it's about an ease of process for the consumer. They're uploading docs securely. That's partly why our stock's gone so high in the last year is because we passed what's called a SOC 2 Type 2 security clearance, which is as high a level of a banking encryption clearance as you can get.
That's a huge point. And that was actually a huge sell for me with my clients when I first started adopting it, using the document portal, because documents used to come into the office. My assistant would be scanning piles of documents for an hour. And then it was coming through emails and all these different name formats, pictures. It was just nuts dealing with documents. And I used to sell it to my clients like, don't email me your documents. That's the most unsecure way to email your documents.
100%.
Like I have this secure portal. Your information is going to be safe. And as soon as you say secure, safe, awesome, let's do that.
Yeah. It's easy. They can take pictures of their documents and upload them, use their mobile phone. And then the second it comes into the system, it's converted from JPEG to PDF.
Retitled.
It's efficient. They can send in, like, how many times do people scan docs all into one big PDF? I even say this in my presentation to people and they all go, oh my God, I hate it. I go, well, tell them, don't worry about it. Upload it all into one section. There's an internal doc splitter inside Velocity that you can cut and paste and move the docs to the right section. What? You're kidding me. I don't have to rescan and re-upload. Nope. So it's things like that when you get into the details of Velocity, when you're speaking to a potential recruit, especially bankers, because their systems are, believe it or not great. We win every time.
And I mean, it goes back to that book we just touched on, Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell. It's like, these are areas where you can buy back your time. And like, you can't put $1 on that. Like, it's so invaluable. So I want to touch on Gold Rush because there's a few things that are making a huge impact for us. It follows a lot of the rhythm chart stuff as well. But the AI, like there's some really cool AI. I mean, AI is just nuts, right? It's changing every day, but
it is.
I was on a call, a Velocity training call, and there's some cool stuff that's being rolled out from an AI perspective.
So we now have the ability for ChatGPT or ChatGPT account to be API'd into Velocity. Gemini is also built into it as well too. We're launching an AI training for all of DLCG, okay? And the initial first level is going to be free. At least I think it is. I should double check that. But I believe it is, called AI Essentials. And it's going to teach the essentials, the basics. But with having the ability to have it in Velocity, it's going to help you with your client emails. You'll be able to tighten those up and make them more professional, just by having it in there. Your lender notes for submission, it's going to help you, tighten those up. But where the future of this is going is, we're going to be able to use AI to verify documents, verify incomes, go through bank statements and,
fraud detect.
Fraud, all of that. And like, we're already integrating this today. It's here now. And that's what's coming with it.
And it's moving so quick. And like, the fear of missing out on this stuff is a real deal. And you should be in fear of missing out on this if you're not a part of this organization or have this tool. It's such a significant piece and you will be left behind. And like, I get this call so much from our aging out brokers, like, AI is going to replace us. And it's like, no, brokers that are using it are going to replace you.
Couldn't agree more.
So Gold Rush has been truly a game changer for a lot of our clients, like our brokers especially. But I wanted to just talk on Jeff Fraser. He's a broker with us. He's going to be coming on our show soon. This guy was not into Velocity. He was like not into change. We got him onto Velocity. He's like, if you ever need me to tell somebody,
I love that. I have so many people that are like that.
Which is crazy coming from him because like, that's like, again, just the guy did not want to change. So here's somebody that went all in and has seen massive impacts from just his efficiency, which we just talked about, but Gold Rush. And maybe we could just talk about Gold Rush because it is such a big piece and it just totally falls in line with the rhythm chart.
So we did a deep dive about just shy of 2 years ago, and we've got the best CRM in the industry built right into Velocity. All these campaigns are built to go personalized to the consumer. All the communication history's there, and there's a lot of opportunity. And we were shocked, like about 19 or 20% of our network actually had more than 2 campaigns turn on. And I was like, what? This is free? It's done? You just need to decide which touch points you want. And Gary said, you know what? People understand they've got to do database management. And I talk to competitors all the time and I go, what do you do? And they're like, maybe, renewal campaign and a birthday campaign. I'm like, okay, that's the basics. And a lot don't even do that. They know they need to, but they feel like I'm not techie. I don't get CRMs. They're complicated. They're confusing. And they can be. Well, we just said, we're going to do it for you. And hence the name Gold Rush, because of all this opportunity coming up. You know, when we started this 3 years ago, we looked at all the renewals coming up, the compression that was there. We went, this is a gold rush. This is an opportunity, but you need to be top of mind. You need to stay in touch. And so we said, we'll set up, the most important milestones and touches throughout the life cycle of the mortgage. All the anniversary dates, renewals going out at 270, 190, 90 and so forth. Holiday campaigns, birthday campaigns. And then we added Twilio, which is the SMS component of Velocity, which again, when I show the competition, that part, they're like, you kidding me? I can text from Velocity, to collect docs and yep, 100%. But we implemented that into the marketing, the birthday messages, the holiday messages, the Halloween that just went out. Like, it's crazy the engagement that our agents are saying they're getting, more than they ever have in their career. And it's a lot to do with just that SMS component.
I've had brokers add me to theirs just so I can see, because some of them personalize them and whatnot. Yeah. But the one cool piece about this is we built our own version of this in the early days in our CRM. It was not anywhere near the same, and it was us having to go build it. But the biggest thing is like, after 3 years of operating on this program that we had before Gold Rush, it was the same birthday message every year.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, this is actually kind of losing its value, where like all those campaigns you just mentioned, they're rewritten.
Yeah.
Like every year. Like that is a big piece, right?
I was shocked. I was moderating an event. I think there's maybe about 150 people there or so, brokers. And I said, well, put your hands up if you have a CRM. And maybe 50% of the room at that time had put their hands up. Right. And so already it's shocking. Not good.
Yeah.
And I said, of the 50%, how many actually know how to use the CRM that they have? And most of the hands went down. And that was the state of where our brokerage was 18 months ago to 2 years ago. The fact that we have this Gold Rush now and we have it's set it, forget it, operates in the back for you. I also think, I'll give Heather Cermak a huge shout out.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Incredible for our brokerage, but the way that she walks through and shows you how this is set up and how it works. I'm on some of these Zoom calls and I look at brokers' faces like, oh my God, it's that easy.
Yep.
And it's a necessary thing. If you don't have a CRM and you're not using something, you are definitely in the wrong spot.
Yeah. And then just back to we were tech savvy. We had the wherewithal to build something ourselves. But again, it's so inferior because it was just pieced together on a random CRM. Now, I have this tool at our disposal that's updated for us, and then Heather Cermak that will take the time to implement it with our agents.
Yeah. Well, we have these RVPs now across the country that work with brokers and owners and agents and say, okay, we'll do this for you.
Yeah.
That's the key, was taking it off the agents' plates. And those that have taken advantage of it, I saw the numbers, it was 72.7 year over year growth. That's
crazy.
Proven. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's funny because I talk to people today that still aren't on it. And I'm like, what? We'll do this for free. We'll set this whole thing up for you. You just got to say yes and let us do it. And again, when I'm recruiting people from the competition and I show them all the campaigns that we're going to turn on and all the touch points and drip points and all the things that we're going to cover for you, they're like, I'm in. Velocity is the industry's first all-in-one.
Totally.
From your application intake, with that security you're talking about, with the documents, to the pushing out to the lender, with a lot of the documents now going right through Velocity to the lender as opposed to the client portal or the lender portal. And we'll have all the lenders on that at some point. It's the industry leader. Yeah, totally. And we are going to continue to invest in it.
I think that's where we'll kind of leave off on that piece, is tools like these truly make DLC unbeatable, and the reinvestment that's continuing to happen and occur, and it's going to keep getting better. And that's the biggest piece. It's not just make it and then forget about it. It's let's make it better. How do we continue to add? You cannot ask for more than that, and nobody is doing that in this industry. One big prediction for DLC brokers in 2026, what would that be for you?
Our biggest year yet.
Yeah.
I really believe it. The opportunity is there with all the business that, the people are going to need advice, and we have a massive opportunity. So yeah, the best is yet to come. It's going to be our biggest year. That's my prediction.
I agree.
So Gary's been pushing 100 billion target. Our target is to be 10% of that.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's a big goal for us.
Yeah,
but I mean, we just want to put that out there just like he does, right? Hey, this is what we want to achieve, and we're going to do whatever we can to do it.
One of the questions we didn't cover, because you'd sent me a couple of examples, and I want to address it because I think you guys can do it. As broker owners,
Yeah.
what can we do to duplicate or replicate the similar success that DLC's had?
Yeah.
And I think you're doing a lot of it. So first off, you're invested in your people, right? You are there to do things. I was at your lender speed dating thing yesterday. I've heard about others that you've done. Like, you're continuing to invest in your people and bring value. Gary from day one said, we're going to be number one. And once we became number one of the things he kept saying was, we're going to act like number two. Like, to stay number one, we're going to act like number two. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We're not going to rest on our success. And we haven't. And, he is constantly driving everybody to innovate, to bring value, to continue to increase our value proposition so that we can make our people better. Like, those words are written on the walls at head office. It's our job to make your job better, period. Or your job easier, period. And it's like, you got to have that mentality. And I think you guys do have it, but continue to strive, continue to push, and continue to innovate.
I appreciate that. And like, that's top of mind for us. Is like Gary used to always say, I wake up every day and all I think about is how to give more value to our agents. And it's like, that's literally what we do.
Well, we get who our customer is. Our customers, the broker owners, our customers, the agents.
Yeah.
The agents should understand who their customers are.
Yeah.
You guys as broker owners need to understand who your customer is, and it's your agent.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And between us, our value proposition and the value proposition you guys bring, there's no reason why you can't get to 10 billion.
One piece I do want to say is we are going to take you up on your training.
Okay.
I think it's going to be huge value to our Better Way brokers. And so for any of our listeners that are not with a Better Way or DLC, reach out, because we'll make sure you're included in that training session to see what this is all about and get an inside look. Some just rapid fire questions to close this out. Your favorite DLC tool? I think I already know what it is.
Velocity for sure. It's probably the most powerful one for me to do recruiting, but man, that My Mortgage Toolbox is right there.
That's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I'll look deep at.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Raving Fans as a book recommendation. What is your favorite sales book?
There's too many. So one of the books I read early on was Jim Collins' Good to Great. I think it's amazing. It's, a classic and worth it. The Experience Economy is another one by, I can't remember who it is.
We'll put this in the show notes.
Yeah, okay. It's two authors. Anyways, what that's all about is deepening of the client loyalty, creating an experience, and it uses examples like, Tim Hortons and Starbucks. One $2 and get your coffee, get in, get out. The other one's $17 a coffee and let's hang out, right? Yeah. But it's about the value. One of the funniest jokes, and I use this in my presentation a lot, but you talk about experiences and you look at Chuck E. Cheese and you look at, Walt Disney. They're both mice, they're both rodents, but vastly different experiences. Yeah. One is cheap and, kind of ucky, and the other one is the most expensive place on the planet.
Yeah.
But it's the value and the experience they create.
Great example.
Right? So that's a good book. Atomic Habits, that was a fantastic one. Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. The Accidental Salesperson, and again, I can't remember who that.
These are excellent recommendations.
So Gary and Richard Robbins and everybody, all my mentors, are voracious readers. Like, they just are constantly self-development, self-learning. And I've followed, like, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to Audible books in my car, like, you could get a higher education than you could at university in less time, just by the time you spend listening to stuff.
Like, I started working technically for Gary maybe 6 years ago, call it. And I think probably at that time I hadn't read a book, and he just instilled this continuous pursuit of personal development, personal growth. All of those titles that you mentioned, with the exception of one or two, I've read all of them, and it actually does help formulate how you're going to market, how you're presenting yourself. It gives you things to talk to your clients about, to talk to realtors about, that always bring value. That piece that's been instilled of me since being in DLCG, of the pursuit of being better, I mean, it just fires you up.
It's the biggest thing you can do for you
Yeah.
is invest into yourself.
Yeah.
You know, go to seminars, go to these conferences, you know, go to anything that's going to provide you value and make you better and sharpen your skill set. And then on the side, you can, you know, do a ton of reading. Another one of my favorites, Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game.
Yeah.
You know, that's from an investment perspective, like game changer. There's another one right in your DLC intranet. So Gary, Chris, and, you know, Kevin and Jay created what was called Enriched Academy.
Yes. Yeah.
Every DLC broker has that free of charge in the back end, and it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's changed my life. It's made me understand money and how to invest and how to prepare for retirement. And let's be honest, a lot of commission salespeople, whether it's mortgage agents or realtors or whatever, you know, some make big bucks and they're still paycheck to paycheck and don't know how to save for retirement, thinking, I'll just do this forever. Well, you may not.
Yeah.
So take advantage of things like that. That makes you better. Anyways.
You said a lot of good stuff there. I was going to ask you for a broker tip in under 10 seconds.
Yeah, I like to talk if you can't tell. A broker tip, be a sponge, lifelong learner, and leverage your brand, leverage your tools and technologies. Have some, you know, thick skin and network, scream from the rooftops. Don't ever stop.
Excellent. I love it. This was unreal. Like, just a quick recap. Download my Mortgage Toolbox app right away if you haven't. Make sure you join Gold Rush, and we're going to have all these great notes and suggestions that you've had from books and just everything. The training, all of this is going to be a huge impact on our business, and we can't thank you enough for that. Your willingness to do that for us.
No, my pleasure. You know, and for anybody that's not part of A Better Way or DLCG, I mean, we'd love to have a conversation with you. You got nothing to lose, and I promise it'll be worth your while.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for anyone out there that's not with DLCG and wants to have a chat with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, Chad at dlc.ca. My cell phone's 416-882-4206, or go through these guys. I mean, you know, I'm not too hard to find.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. I really
amazing.
appreciate it.
I love this, guys. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddy steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy to prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.